In 1890, the industrialist William T. Love began development on what he had dubbed an urban utopia in the Niagara County area of western New York. Containing a pre-planned urban community of parks and residences, the area that would be called Model City, New York was also meant to house a hydroelectric plant within its borders. Love envisioned a dreamland of lush green parks and clear smog-free skies where up to 1 million people could be housed. For reasons, which are the topic of this video, Love was only able to get a few streets built. I'm ThinkSoJoE, this is Things You Might Not Know, and today I'm going to tell you all about America's forgotten ecological disaster, the Love Canal. In addition to Model City, William Love planned out the digging of a canal approximately 10 miles south of his proposed paradise. The purpose of this canal was to connect the separate upper and lower regions of the Niagara River for more efficient shipping. This was necessitated by the geography of the area, which, if you're not familiar, contains a pretty big waterfall. You might have heard of it, it is world famous after all. This of course made getting barges full of goods to Lake Ontario pretty difficult. The Love Canal finally began construction in 1894. As companies expressed interest in building factories on the canal, William Love had a few streets and houses built here as well. As fate would have it though, the funding for the project would dry up quickly. Only 1 mile of the canal had been dug, leaving an area about 50 feet wide and 10 to 40 feet deep sitting wide open. A financial crisis in 1907 guaranteed the money was never going to return, which led William Love to bankruptcy. Plans for both Model City and the Love Canal were abandoned. Afterward, environmental groups successfully lobbied Congress to pass a law that was designed to preserve Niagara Falls, the waterfall, not the town. This law prohibited any water from being removed from the Niagara River. Now Niagara Falls, the town, not the waterfall, had a big useless hole sitting on the outskirts. The city of Niagara Falls eventually turned the hole into a municipal dump in the 1920s. Over the next couple of decades, Niagara Falls began to boom as not only a tourist destination, but also with industries such as rubber, plastic, and petrochemicals setting up factories in town. As we get into the 1940s, Hooker Chemical Company had a large amount of chemical waste they were trying to get rid of, and they knew just the right hole to dump it in. With little resistance from the local government, Hooker Chemical drained the canal, lined the bottom with clay, and began filling it with 55-gallon barrels. Hooker was pumping out so much that they had to expand the area into a 16-acre landfill. Hooker Chemical ceased dumping new waste into the canal in approximately 1952 and sealed it off with clay. The decade that the site was active, 19,800 tons of waste were dumped there. The city of Niagara Falls was still growing at this point, which meant the population was booming. This led to a need for the city to expand its borders, which gave Hooker Chemical the perfect opportunity to offload the now unneeded land. The lucky winner was the Niagara Falls City School District, who would go on to build 2 elementary schools in the area and then resold the remaining land to developers. Full neighborhoods were built in this remaining space. While the school district was aware of what was buried here, that information was not passed down to the developers. This obviously led to a lot of homeowners also not being aware as well. By the 1970s, the locals were becoming more aware of weird odors in the air and occasional black fluid coming out of the ground. The blizzard of 1977 led to heavy seepage as the snow melted. What came next was a flurry of a public health crisis combined with heavy activism. One prominent activist during this time was Lois Gibbs, whose story was told in the 1982 TV movie Lois Gibbs and the Love Canal. Almost all families living here ended up being displaced, with many getting deathly sick in the process. The most common illness to come out of the Love Canal disaster is leukemia. These incidents led to the passing of the Federal Superfund Law, which was created with the purpose of having these types of situations properly investigated and cleaned up. The Superfund for Love Canal took quite a bit of time to accomplish, with appropriate cleanup and building demolishment finally completing in 2004. The remnants of the failures of William T. Love, unfortunately, still exist to this day. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Things You Might Not Know. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can see a playlist of things you might not know videos over here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.